The hearing opens with a situation that immediately reveals something unusual. This is not a case where a ward is fighting for freedom at all costs. Instead, the person who filed the request arrives prepared to reverse course.
I see an Isaac Smith and a Brian Collins, but you're on mute, so I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I just unmuted. Hold on.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll wait for my mom. She's putting the dogs up.
Okay.
Dad, you gotta scoot in.
And now everybody's sideways.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to fix this. Sorry, I never used Zoom before.
That's all right.
Hi,
I can see.
Steve.
All right. And then we have, who do we have from CMH?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Elizabeth Shirley from CMH.
All right. So we have.
We do have Alyssa Schultz as well, but she hasn't unmuted or started her video yet.
Alyssa Schultz with us from APS.
She told me she wasn't going to be here today.
She is.
Well, I think we have her in the waiting room. She just hasn't turned on her video yet, so I'll give her a second to do that. Anybody else from this matter?
Oh,
I have Brian, Arzik, and Barbara, and Elizabeth Shirley with us. Can you send a message to APS, please, Ms. Schultz?
There she is.
All right, I do see Ms. Schultz is with us as well. This is a petition to modify the guardianship that was filed by Brian on behalf of himself. Brian, why don't you tell me what it is that you want to modify or change?
well, before we talk things out, I wanted more independence, and I'm about to start a new job soon. And I'm going to get a crossroads and CMAs, work my way to becoming my own guardian, get my own apartment. We're working things up to the point. I'm going to be starting the hospital soon on the 12th.
All
So
right,
I
well,
no
that's a
longer
good thing.
so I no longer would like to change guardians. If I have to, then I would like my mom to take over because I am getting to where I need to be. We talked things out, and everything I said in that letter was an over exaggeration, and we're on our way up.
Well, why would you send in a letter that would exaggerate like that?
Well, I was kind of depressed about a few things when they talked to me about, petitioning and everything, and I thought that would be a good idea. And APS said I need to write a letter. Try to sort down the truth as I perceived it, but it wasn't really the full truth.
Are you
I
still
think
living at mom? Are you still living at mom and dad's house?
Yes, sir.
And you haven't got a job yet, but you're going to start on June 12th?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Is that job-
I got fingerprinting to do and drug tests to do before I can start.
And that's going to be at the hospital?
Yes, sir. I'm going to be cleaning doctor's offices 4 to midnight.
All right. That sounds like a good job to have, good responsibility.
Yep, and I'm going to try working my way up to IT.
All right. Do you have transportation?
Yes, my mom would drive me, and on days she's at work, I'm going to be taking the bus. And she would pick me up at nighttime when time to pick up.
All right. How far away from the hospital do you live?
Not that far. We live in Park Meadows. The hospital's literally right down the road of you.
Okay. So you're
Yeah,
in
my
town.
mom sale.
Have you checked the bus schedule to see if it runs that late at night?
Well, Dad and Mom will pick me up at night. I gotta go to work at 4. The bus is still open at 4.
Okay. All right. And so
It's
your
the
parents
4
are your parents are willing to come get you every night?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, is this a 5 days a week job or is this only a couple days a week?
5 days a week. Weekends off. Weekends and
off.
holidays off.
All right, well, that sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good there. Mom and Dad, you've heard what
Yes.
he's told me. What do you have to say? Let me hear from Dad first.
Your Honor, I feel that he's making a great leap into where he needs to be, as far as himself, he's getting a job at the hospital, and I think that that's going to change him quite a bit because there's a lot of responsibility that takes place in order for this job to take, and I think once he gets in there, I think that everything is going to be good for him, and it's going to better him quite a lot.
Okay. Well, as he grows up and gets more responsibility, he's going to want to do more independent things, right?
Yes, and that's not a problem, sir.
All right.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all, sir.
He wrote me a letter that caused me a little bit of concern, which is why we have a hearing, because he says that there's been some, and he may be right when he says he exaggerated, but he's saying that there was some violence, and
No, sir.
he was scared that if he didn't move out, it was going to continue. So has there been some physical
No,
action between the two of you?
No, sir. No, Your Honor. There has
Time the one back in the past
when I had to
my fit.
I had to hold him because he was hitting himself in the face with his own fist and stuff like that and banging his head up against the wall. So that's the only time that I've had to hold him because I didn't want him to do self-harm.
I haven't done that in a long while. Should be police.
All right. So why was he in that state of mind at that time?
He
I
wasn't on the right
meds.
meds.
The father's testimony reveals a strategic challenge that often appears in guardianship cases. He wants the court to view recent progress as proof that the current arrangement works. The judge, however, is focused on a different question.
Is he currently on the right meds?
Yes.
Has
I'm
he
doing a
had
lot.
any All right. I can only hear one of you at a time, so I'm talking to your dad right now. So just slow down a little bit. I'll come back to you in a minute. Is there been any recent episodes or other incidents that indicates that he needs to change his medications again?
No, sir.
All right. And you are in a agreement with his request to not do anything to change his guardianship and allow him to start this new job?
Yes, sir. It's better for him. It'll better him in the future, this job.
Yeah.
His working is going to put a bit of a cramp on you and your wife as far as making sure he gets to work and gets home at night. Is that going to be something that you'll be able to do?
Yes, sir. I can do that.
Can Mom talk for a second about the job?
In a minute, I'll talk to her, but I can only do one at a time.
Okay.
Thank you. So, I mean, 4 to midnight, that kind of is a bit of a sleep disruptor. Is that going to be something that you guys can handle on a regular basis?
We don't go to bed till late anyway.
All right.
We're like, stay up until about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then go to bed. So that's not gonna put no crimp on like a way of getting him back home or nothing.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything else that you want me to be aware of?
I just want you to be aware of is I'm not the person that has proceeded like that was put on paper. At the end of the day, this is my son, and I want what's best for him, and I want to see him succeed in life. And I just wanted you to be aware of that.
All right, thank you very much. Is Mom there too?
Yes.
So I work at the hospital also, and I work till 7 o'clock. And I'm gonna have a taxi come and get him and drop him off to work, and then I'd probably be picking him up at night because I stay up late. So he doesn't have any issues of getting to work and back. And then
Right.
there'll be some days where I drop him off or dad will drop him off. It's not going to be like every day he's taking a taxi to work.
That could get a little expensive.
That's all right. I mean,
All right.
he wants this job really bad. I've never seen anybody want a job so badly. And he's already gone through the process of getting his fingerprinting on Monday and whatever else he needs to start this job.
All right.
But I think
He
he'll
talked-
do good.
Good. Brian talked in his letter about him having or wanting to have a relationship with a young girl. And that as a young man, that's a normal kind of thing. So how do you feel about that part of his growing up?
Well, the only thing I was wanting from him was just as if we could, if she came over here, we could meet her and that, and nothing of like that had been brought up. And so I have no problem with him hanging out with a girl or anything like that. He just never brought any of this up to me or dad. That was it.
All right. Have you guys talked about it since then?
Yeah, we have.
All right. So sounds like you're doing a little bit better with the communication, and that should help things.
Oh, yeah. I told him, don't be afraid to come to us and let us know that you want somebody to come over, It's fine. I just, like, if he goes to his buddy's house, just let us know where you're going. I'm going to get him a flip phone so he can get a hold of us.
All right.
So we know where he's at. Because, even though, they're bigger kids, I still like to know where they're at because I worry about them. In case he
That
needs.
sounds like every mother that I know.
Yeah. Just let us know where you're at, or, so that we don't have to worry about you. But yeah, we've worked on all that.
Okay. All right.
He's finally getting into a job that he really wants to do. So
Good. Brian, is there anything else that you want to tell me?
The day that Sarah and them came to talk to me, I was kind of depressed. I was out of my depression pills. So I just, and because of everything that was being said at the time, it wasn't the truth, but I mistaken it as the truth. I was waiting for the depression to get filled, so I was, all over. So I'm sorry for wasting your time.
You didn't waste anybody's time, Brian. All right. Let me hear from some of the other people that are here. Ms. Shirley, what is it that you can help me with?
Yeah, good morning. So this most recent situation, I've been working with Brian for 2 years now. And I had a voicemail from Brian's dad on Friday, pulling him out of CMH services because of this new job, which he receives medications through us. And I was just going back through his chart, and he hasn't had any recent medication changes. So I guess I have a concern about who's going to be overlooking his mental health medications since he was receiving that through us and now he's discontinuing services. But when both my sports coordinator assistant and I had met with Brian in March, and that was when the allegation of abuse was, and I contacted APS and we had gotten involved. I had started visiting him at his day program, which is Crossroads, where he goes and he gets out into the community. And he also had a job there as well. I had started visiting him every Thursday because that was when he was in the studio. So I knew if I went, I would be able to see him.
The service provider introduces a long history that does not fit neatly into the family's new story of harmony. Unlike relatives, she has observed the situation over years and describes repeated efforts toward independence.
And he had talked to me about guardianship. And over the past 2 years, there have been multiple times where he has said, I want a new guardian. My parents don't let me have any independence. And And this was finally the time where he had asked for the paperwork and he wanted to fill it out. So I brought him the paperwork and assisted him with filling it out. He wrote his own letter and I helped him with turning that in. And then I believe, so I've been seeing him every Thursday since then. And then it was either last week or the week before, he told me he wanted to withdraw the petition because his parents were letting him have more freedom, and then he was getting this new job. And I just had concerns. He's never worked a full-time job, and I've been working on trying to help him move out many times. And we'd get to the point where we have semi-independent placements that we contract with that have some staff on site to help. And every time we've gotten to the point, he would call and he would say, I'm not ready to move in. And then when I would visit him by himself, he would say, yeah, mom and dad got to me. So I have concerns with now pulling him out of CMH services, just especially the coordination with his mental health medications. I want to see Brian thrive and be independent too. It hasn't happened in the past 2 years when I've been working on it. And so with APS involved too, just kind of.
I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. So thank you very much. Let me hear from APS. Ms. Schultz, what can you help me with?
Yeah, so I've been involved with Brian since March 26th is when I got the initial complaint. And in the complaint, it had made mention of some physical altercations between Brian and his father at the home. When I did go out and visit him, that would have been, I think it was on the 28th of March, but it would have been within 72 hours of that complaint. I went out with law enforcement since it was a physical abuse complaint, and he had disclosed there was some physical altercations with dad. He had struck him in the face at one point. This hadn't occurred though, the physical contact, since like January, December is what he had disclosed to me, but the verbal abuse had been ongoing, and that was something that he was very adamant about every time that I visited him. So I did visit him 3 times at Crossroads throughout this entire, I guess, period of the petitioning and stuff like that. I've kept the case open, and his story didn't change the second time I went. Things were remaining pretty rocky at the home. Brian was adamant that he did not want me to interview mom or dad because he was afraid that that would cause the tension to escalate in the home to potentially some physical violence. And so I had waited until everything was kind of set in stone to interview mom and dad. And the timing of the petition, the parents getting served the petition, and then going and visiting Brian again kind of all lines up with them being aware that he was requesting the guardianship. And that's when the freedoms started to be, I guess, given. Brian had told me at my initial visit with him that dad was making a lot of comments stating like, I own you, and not allowing him to do the things that he wanted to do. Financially, he disclosed that he wasn't getting any of his money, that his monthly income that's put into an account that he doesn't have access to. And one of the things that he had mentioned to me when I last visited him after the petition had been served and the freedoms were somewhat given to him, he had stated that mom and dad want him to move out, but they don't want him to move out because they don't have anybody to take over his room and help pay the rent. So that was something that was a little bit like concerning to me, just financially. It sounds from the disclosures that they're a little bit financially like dependent on him in a way. He had disclosed that he doesn't get any of his monthly income, although they did state that his needs are met, and he did state that as well, like as far as soaps and deodorant and those types of things, they are buying him those types of items. But outside of that, he doesn't get any extra. There are alleged videos of the physical violence. I never received those, but it is concerning that the freedoms that he's getting came after the fact of a potential petition for a guardianship change, as well as taking him out of the CMH services, as well as Crossroads. Those are services that have been in place for quite some time and have been very a huge support to Brian. And I think that he would say that as well. They are kind of like his family there. There were some concerning comments too made about this significant other that he had by dad. This was told to me by Brian, such as comments like, I want to get you fixed so that you can't reproduce disabled children. She has a condition where her hair falls out, and there were comments made that inappropriate comments such as, does the carpet match the drapes? Those are statements that were told to me by Brian that had come from his father, and those are pretty concerning comments in my opinion. So that's, I think, everything from me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that information. Dad, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
The judge's approach becomes especially strategic here. He refuses to make formal findings about the allegations, but he also refuses to ignore them. That middle position is deliberate. By placing the father on notice, the court creates accountability without launching into a separate evidentiary battle.
I'm not going to make a finding today that things were said and things were done, but you're on notice, right? You understand that if there's any more of any of this kind of allegations, the court would not be pleased. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, Your Honor, I do.
I get concerns about your son's independence. And every dad has that moment when the son is trying to spread his wings and move out of the nest. And that's a difficult time for moms and dads whenever it comes. But there's got to be a little bit of give and take, appropriate give and take. And comments such as I've just heard would not be appropriate. Again, I'm not making a finding that you said those things, but I'm telling you that they can't be made in the future at all, because if they are, you're now on notice that those things have been alleged and they should never be done again. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor. Those things that have been alleged towards me is incorrect. That's not something that I have said.
I understand that you would say that. I'm not here, and again, that's why I said I'm not making a finding that you did those things. But what I'm telling you is you've now been told that those allegations are out there. And I just don't want them to ever have any basis in fact in the future. I don't want anything like that to be done. So you've heard what has been said. And so if they're not true, great, then make them continue to be not true in the future. The one thing that does concern me is taking Brian off of his CMH routine and the care and ongoing medical coverage that he has through CMH. So tell me why you did that.
Because we're going to go back to his McLaren regular doctor. So that way he can go to just the one doctor and see the one doctor instead of having to make several visits to like CMH and then plus his regular doctor as well, because with the work schedule. So that way it wouldn't intervene with his work.
Have you been to his regular doctor already?
Yes, he went. He's got a meeting with her on the 12th of June.
I thought that was the day that he was starting his work.
Oh, I could be wrong. Could you take a look for me, Brian?
No, 16th.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. It's the 16th of July. He has a meeting with her. Yes, sir.
So he hasn't been to his doctor yet, and you're already taking him out of CMH services?
He has refills enough to last him up until that time. Your Honor.
How long has CMH been in Brian's life?
Probably for a long time, Your Honor. I can't say exactly how long, but it's been a while.
So why would you take him out now?
Like, if he still has to go, he has to go. It's so, you know, but I took him out because he asked me to take him out. He said he did not want to go to CMH no more, and he didn't want to work at the other job that they had him working at. He wanted me to take him out of Crossroads because he felt like they were just, you know, holding him down and not doing.
They went into my sleep schedule.
And so he asked me to take him out of those things. So I did as he asked me to do.
Mr. Smith, you know how this looks, right?
I know it looks kind of bad, but I just did what he asked me to do, Your Honor.
Well, as a dad, that's a bit of a cop-out. You don't always do what your son asks you to do when it's not the right thing to do. And taking him away from the agency that monitors his mental health and has done that for years and is the primary source of his medication is clearly not in his best interests. And that sounds to me, hey, listen to me. That sounds to me like someone who's trying to get back at people who supported your son when he made some allegations against you. That's what that sounds like to me.
Okay, no, sir. No, Your Honor. And I don't want it to sound like that because it's not like that at all.
Good. Then we can put him right back into CMH and make sure that he's got the necessary tools and support. And then the only reason that I would expect that he be removed from CMH is if his other doctor requested it.
The judge openly signals skepticism toward the decision to terminate services. His concern is not merely procedural. He sees those services as independent oversight that exists outside family influence.
And he'd already confirmed that with CMH. So if the doctors talk to each other and say there's no need for CMH, then great. But I would be hard pressed to believe that the doctors are going to do that because Brian has been in CMH care for such a long time. They have a long history with him. They understand who he is and what he needs to do. And his work is not going to have a problem. A hospital clearly is not going to have a problem with Brian having some doctor's appointments. Right?
I'm not really sure on that, but you know.
Come on, Mr. Smith. You think a hospital is going to have a problem with giving an employee a break to go see the doctor?
No, Your Honor, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is, I guess, you know, if he could set it in stone ahead of time, you know, get the appointment set in stone ahead of time and tell them, hey, I got this appointment on this date at this time. You know, can I either be late to work or can I be excused from work with a note from the doctor stating that I was here? I mean, something like that can be set in stone and can be placed. That's kind of like what I was trying to explain, but I guess it didn't come out like that. And I apologize if it didn't come out like that, Your Honor.
I appreciate that. And his work schedule will probably be okay because he works the afternoon shift and he's got all morning if he needs to go to the doctor's offices and early afternoon as well. So I think he's going to be fine with that. So I want you to go back to CMH, re-enroll him, make sure that there's no interruption in service there. Can you do that for me?
Yes, sir, I can. I can make the phone call.
Ms. Shirley, is there any problem with them doing that?
No, once I got his voicemail, I did follow the process, which you send the discharge letter. There's still a 10-day window, so he still will remain in services if that is what is requested.
All right. So, Mr. Smith, you've heard that they need to have a request. And today is Tuesday. It needs to be done this week. You
I'll
understand
make
that?
the call. Yes, Your Honor. I'll make the call as soon as we get done here.
Outstanding. I'm glad to hear that. All right. I think I'm going to allow the modification request to be withdrawn. That means that we won't do anything to change the guardianship. The Smiths will remain the guardians, but CMH is going to stay in the involvement with Brian as his mental health provider. Mr. Smith is going to contact Ms. Shirley immediately, and we'll go forward with that. I'm going to expect good things to be heard from you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, about how you're dealing with Brian. That doesn't mean he always gets his way. I understand that. But you have to start talking to him and he with you in a good manner and listening to each other and trying to work out what is best for each other. We can't have this antagonistic process, and you can't cut out the other supports that he has through CMH or Adult Protective Services. Do you understand, Mr. Smith?
No, sir, I'm not trying to cut him out. I won't cut him out.
All right, that sounds good. All right. I'll enter an order that says that you guys remain the guardians subject to CMH still staying in the process. Ms. Schultz, I appreciate all the information from APS. Ms. Shirley, thank you very much for being here on behalf of CMH. That's all for today.
Can we mention one more thing?
Yep, go ahead.
I didn't realize who he was until I saw him. Just to mention the annual reports every year. It takes about 3 times to get them, and he's.
All right, Mr. Smith, are you still there?
Yes, Your Honor.
My staff is telling me that it's been in the past, it's been very difficult to get the annual reports from you.
I don't have a computer, but I do fill them out and take them up to the courthouse. Take them up and I leave.
Just need to do it on a more timely basis is all I'm saying.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. That's all.
The final ruling reflects cautious trust rather than complete confidence. The judge allows the modification request to disappear, but he does not allow the underlying concerns to disappear with it. Instead, he builds conditions around the existing arrangement. Communication, cooperation, and continued professional involvement become the price of keeping guardianship unchanged. The closing discussion about overdue annual reports may seem minor, yet it reinforces a broader theme. The court is concerned about accountability. Timely reports, ongoing services, and outside oversight all serve the same purpose, ensuring that authority remains transparent. By the end, nobody achieves a complete victory. Brian does not gain a new guardian. The parents do not receive unquestioned validation. What emerges is a warning that future actions will be watched much more closely than before.